In this video, I'm going to introduce how to create new type names in C. So up until now, we've used things like int, char, double. These kind of primitive types are available for us out of the box, but then the question is, how do I create something new? Now, the first thing we're going to introduce is Typedef, and Typedef is pretty simple. Ultimately, what it's going to do is it's going to provide a way to rename types or to alias type names. So let's actually jump down here and look at the example, just to start with. So this says typedef int boolean. So basically what that bit of code is doing there is saying, okay, I want to create a new type called boolean, and behind the scenes it'll be an integer. And that's what the typedef keyword is doing. It's basically saying, oh, I'm creating a new type, and it looks like this behind the scenes. So this is kind of our our new name over here versus this over here is our old name. And by name, I'm meaning type name. I'm trying to draw an O there. Let's pretend that's an O. Old. So however, old int was pre-existing. Boolean is our new thing. And so now later on in my program, what I'm able to do is stuff like this. Create a new Boolean called x. X is a variable. The type in front of it is Boolean. And behind the scenes, typedef, right, is basically a rename operation. So really, int x is going to be acting like an int. And that's why we have that equals 0, right? Because that's an operation we can do on an integer. And later on, you see a little bit more code, right? So we can do things like, oh, we have a counter variable, and then later we can check x, right? We're checking x just as if it's an integer, right? Again, it's just renaming something. So that's kind of the basic syntax of typedef. It's pretty straightforward. There's just the two parts to it, right? Keyword, and then the old type, then new type. Now, on the right-hand side, we have a second example. So the second example, right, is we're doing this thing called flag type. So you can see there we have a typedef char flag type. So we're creating a new type called flag type, and behind the scenes, it's looking like a char. And then the main, right, we have flag type x equal, and then you can see we're setting a char into it. Pretty much the same stuff that's happening on the first example. But then here's a question for you guys. Why not just use something like char directly? Why are we even bothering with this renaming type names or alias thing in that? What is the purpose of that? The reason is basically annotation. All of a sudden, you know a little bit more about what x is, right? X isn't just a character. X is a flag. We have a little bit of a kind of additional information about what's happening in our program. Even if we don't do anything else, and there's certainly other things we can do, we're still having the ability to basically annotate type names with a bit of text or a bit of semantics to let us know how it's supposed to be used. That's one of the purposes of Typedef.